Air Care Driveline World's OK steering wheel holder. I swear I'm on some ice road trucker bullshit this whole entire trip out. I just cannot. It's been 2 weeks straight, man. 2 weeks. Every single day. I'm going to try to get my tandems to slide. I've tried to get my tandems to slide at 2 other locations and I couldn't. So let's see if this is like the least, this is the least icy spot that I've been able to find. Let's see if we can get this shit. Problem is I got my tandems in the 10th hole and I'm going to a shipper way up here in Michigan, way up in Michigan, like way north of Reed City. It's 5 degrees right now. Well, at least all the pins went in. And this shipper I'm going to is in a tiny little old town with very strict fines if you make a wrong turn. And you have to go through this old neighborhood and make like 5 or 6 turns in this neighborhood to get to the shipper. So I ain't trying to take this empty trailer. Come on, baby. Oh, it might actually be working, guys. Oh, it's working. Ah! Come on, baby. All the way. There we go. What was happening is, oh, sorry, this is crooked. What was happening is where I delivered in Flint yesterday, it was like damn near a foot of snow. I actually did it. And I couldn't get on the move, or my tractor tires were spinning. And then I parked at a rest area. I made it up to Bay City, got a washout in Bay City, and then started heading northwest. And it was like 30 mile per hour wind and heavy lake effect snow. So I just called an audible yesterday and parked at a rest area. And that rest area was all snowed out and not plowed. So I had the exact same situation this morning. I could get all the pins to let go, but my tractor tires were just spinning. So we got them moved. And I'm telling you guys, this is the worst. I'm not saying the worst winter since I've been in trucking, but this is the worst 2 weeks of winter for me since I've been in trucking. I mean, like just consecutive every single day dealing with this. I just drove 60 miles and it took me 2 hours. 2.5 hours almost. And that's been like every single night for the last 2 weeks. All right, so that clip was from a few days ago. So I'm going to catch you guys up on what's happened since. I finally, man, I went and picked up, on that clip, I was going to pick up Morton Salt in, what's that joint? Is it Manistee, I think? Michigan. And if I have to get out of northern Michigan, I would rather take salt than yogurt. I take salt over yogurt all day long. By the way, that Morton Salt place, they loaded me in like 25 minutes. I'm not kidding, man. I was 2 hours early and they loaded me in 25 minutes with paperwork. So I took that load to where did that go? Walmart in southeast Iowa. I want to say Mount Pleasant or something like that. And when I got into Iowa, now it was cold as shit. Man, it was cold. Not as cold as I think it's going to get next week. I think next week is just going to be on some other level. But I saw grass for the first time in weeks. Not only did I see grass, I was able to fuel without walking through a foot of slushy diesel and DEF and anti-gel. See, it's not just the weather that makes winter so shitty in trucking. It's all the sort of, subgenres of what you have to deal with in weather, of just things like that, like going into fuel islands, because in a lot of places, now what I will say about Michigan, with the exception of being up there near Manistee and Traverse City, because they just get such relentless lake effect snow that it's just not possible to stay on top of it. But the southern half of Michigan, there's not a lot of good things I can say about Michigan. Y'all need to do better with picking your leadership. I'll say that for sure. But what I will say about Michigan is, A, they know how to drive in winter. What you will not see is a lot of cars in ditches and in the median. People in Michigan know how to drive in the winter. And B, they really keep they stay on top of it. Like I said, the lower half of Michigan, like Flint, even up to Bay City, you can go into, like I went into a Love's in Bay City, which I should have slid my tandems there. I just wasn't thinking about it. But it was snowing pretty good, but they were out. They had the Love's truck and they had a external truck, some big white dually that was out there with a shovel. And they were just constantly fighting it. And that's what you have to do. Like you cannot, a lot of the Midwest and southern states, they go out after like 2 or 3 inches of snow, they run a plow over it and they think, oh, this, we'll just wait until it's done snowing, then we'll come plow it. Well, you've already lost the war at that point, because you can't go out there and plow it when you've let a foot of snow and ice fall on it. The game's already over. So then what happens is they wave the white flags. Well, we can't do anything about it, so we'll just wait until it naturally melts. What happens is that creates just absolute chaos at the fuel islands and trucks getting stuck in parking spots and all that stuff. And I know they can't plow the parking spots because there are trucks in them. I get that. But there's just, like, I've been in some Loves in the last couple of weeks where the entire lot was absolutely treacherous. I mean, I was in one, where was it? Somewhere in Missouri, where there was a tow truck there that was just moving from one truck to the other, and not in parking spots. This was just trucks getting stuck trying to maneuver around the lot, trying to get in and out of the lot. There were trucks stuck out in front of the fuel islands. It was crazy. I mean, there were probably 5 or 6 trucks that just couldn't move in the lot, not in parking spots. But what I noticed about, especially the southern half of Michigan, is that they fight it early and they fight it often. They do not let it accumulate. So there's some good things I could say about Michigan there. You won't hear me say very good things about Michigan often. But I'll say they know how to drive in winter, and a lot of their facilities just really, like, it's just even a lot of the business parks, the office buildings, they're all really plowed, and it was snowing relentlessly. So I took that load of salt and it wasn't like salt for food. It was like the big bags, the pallets of big bags of sidewalk salt. Took that to Iowa. Then I went and picked up JBS out of Iowa, which I took to Frick's Meat in Washington, Missouri. And now I'm at the terminal. I stopped at the terminal to just take care of a couple quick things, pick up some mail. And I'm getting ready to roll out. I'm just waiting for my clock to come back. But when I got into Iowa, it was cold as shit, but it was just so nice to have a dry fuel island for once. That was the first time I had seen a dry fuel island that didn't get, if you're not wearing boots, it's going to get your jeans wet. And then when you get back in the truck, your jeans are wet with not just water, but like diesel fuel and all this. Man, usually I'm able to just kind of try to navigate around winter conditions as much as I possibly can. But that was crazy. I'm calling it a campaign. My buddy Wes, he calls, when he comes off of home time, he calls it a campaign. He's going out on a campaign. He views it as war, I mean, and I think he served too, so it's not like he actually compares it to war, but it's, psychologically there is some warfare involved in going out on a run, and he calls it a campaign. So that's what I'm doing from now on. This was campaign alpha. Campaign alpha is wrapping up. I got to run home. My son's got a surgery, not a big thing, but I just want to be there to support him and support Jenna, and I just want to be there for him. He's going in for a procedure, So this will wrap up this campaign alpha. So but this entire campaign I've spent in pretty brutal winter conditions. I only shut down. Oh, and by the way, someone texted me and said, "Man, if it gets bad, you need to shut down." I said that I was driving in this stuff a lot, and I have been, but also I've shut down. I don't want you guys to think that I just don't shut down. And I mean, longtime subscribers know I don't mess with something I'm not comfortable in driving in. Now, I will say I'm much less comfortable with high wind when I have an empty trailer or a light trailer, or in like severe, tornado, hurricane type stuff. I'm less comfortable with that than I am driving in snow. But guys, please don't take my previous couple videos to think that I'm some super trucker that wants to get out here and run no matter what the conditions are. That's not the case at all. I've shut down multiple times over the last couple weeks. In fact, I shut down like right at the beginning of that storm or these series of storms in St. Louis at the beginning of this campaign. And ended up taking that load in a little bit late. I think it was a day late. And then I shut down in Michigan because there was wind and the wind and the snow combined was just too much. But basically every day since I've left home at the end of December, I've been in winter conditions. Just about every day. So right now at the terminal, it's dry. It was 55 degrees today. Now, of course, this cold front's coming in, which is just going to absolutely bitch slap basically everybody, with some more snow coming. So I think what I was saying at the clip at the beginning is, and I don't know, you guys tell me if you think this is any different. I know we had, for those who drove a couple years ago, I think it was the winter of 21, I think. Either 21 or 22 maybe. Might have been 22. Where we had the deep freeze that came that was unbelievable. It sent the ice storms down into Texas. Might even have been 22. I think. Anyway. We had pipes freeze in Texas. It was just awful. The year before that, I think it was, we had the upper Midwest had just like so there's been really rough, tough winter periods, but those periods of winter in the past seem to be shorter lived. This is I think the worst January for me personally, in terms of it just being non-stop, relentless for 2 to 3 weeks, every single day for me. Now, a lot of that's just because of the route that I was stuck in, the loads that I was on. And I will say, my loads have paid unbelievably good. I think, as it was explained to me, that when I shut down in St. Louis, What has it been? Probably 2 weeks ago, I think. When I left to go north and deliver that load in Indiana, what was explained to me is that a bulk of trucks were only just now able to move south. So I ended up in the Midwest when a majority of trucks were finally able to move south to deliver all their freight to the southeast and south, etc. So I happened to land in the Midwest when there was a dire need for trucks to move freight in the Midwest. So with that being the case, I had two things going for me. One, there was just a feast of freight for the last 2 weeks, which is pretty not common in January. And not only was there a feast of freight if you were in Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, etc., but it was really good paying. Like I had one crazy, what was that? I took a load from Smithfield there in Indianapolis to Gas City, Indiana. It was like 60 miles for like $700, I think, $700 or $800. Like it was unbelievable. Drop and hook on both ends, so it was really good paying freight and very consistent. But I basically had to embrace the fact that the poison to that was that it was just relentless winter conditions every single night, So I've kept my wits about me, and I've kept my head on straight, and just kind of embraced the suck. You know what I mean? There's not really any other way to, like, if you let yourself start getting really beat up about it, can really mess with you. And so that's kind of just like, it's only January, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm watching these temperature predictions or forecasts for the weekend going into next week. Today is the 16th or 17th. What is today? I think it's what is today? Anyway, it's Friday morning. I think it's the 17th. Yeah, it's after midnight. Friday morning, 17th. This is only January. Like, for me, February has typically been the colder month. And the fact that this has been the case for all the first, like, I'm sitting here going, okay, what the fuck is February going to be like? You know what I mean? Is February going to be worse than January? Because holy shit, man. So that's kind of been the last couple days. I've got other clips, and I've had plans for videos, but it's just been like, when you're moving 40 miles per hour for hours at a time, and you get parked, the last thing you want, at least for me, the last thing I want to do is sit here and make videos. I just want to make something to eat, get a shower if I can, and pass the fuck out. It's just been that kind of a time. So but I again, I'll just reiterate, the weather's been terrible, at least for me, but it's been very productive January economically, and I haven't been able to say that for all Januaries over the last 6 years. So I am appreciative for that. One final note I will say to Dick Dickerson, you guys see him down in the comments sometimes, and Hopper, because Dick Dickerson saw me parked in this spot by the fountain. I don't know if you guys see, if you know Prime, you know where I'm at, over here by the fountain. This is my hidey spot. Hopper always tries to tell me this is his spot, and Dick Dickerson saw my truck parked over here today, and he texted me and said, hey, if you're going to park in my spot, I'm going to have to charge you a fee. I'm like, bro, this is my spot, dude. If you've been parking here, you owe me money. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I like to hide over here. Yeah, it's a little bit of a walk. Walking's good for you. I went and took a shower, got some coffee. But anyways, I'll update you guys in a day or two. For members of the channel, I did actually record a podcast. So I have a podcast that'll go up for you guys here in the next day or two. So for channel members, not subscribers, I'm talking about just channel members, that podcast is going to start this week. I did record one. I may do another one tonight. But so I'm excited about getting stuff like that going. Anyway, guys, be safe, make good decisions, always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.